time at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
As one observes right round the world, there is utter chaos. Something has happened to humanity, to the human being. There are these problems of overpopulation, pollution, the tremendous economic imbalance, social injustice, and so on and on and on. The utter chaos in the political field. So seeing all that, the chaos, the suffering, the extraordinary sense of brutality and violence in the world, in observing that, it becomes absolutely necessary that one be a light to oneself, not depending on anybody psychologically.
Wait, stop. Pause it. Not depending on anyone psychologically. Do you know how heavy of a statement that is? To be in love, to be in a relationship, but not be dependent psychologically on your partner? If you guys don't know who that is, that's legendary Krishnamurti. Of course, we got to start the show. Go ahead, finish it.
Not depending on anybody psychologically. One has to be totally a light to oneself in this world of chaos, which we altogether have created it. I mean, by being a light to oneself, not depending on some philosophy, on a guru, on some external authority, or the latest psychologist, but to understand totally ourselves, and therefore our relationship with each other and with the world.
Krishnamurti, he took off from the free throw line. Let's get into today's topic. The reason why I played that clip, because this topic is a heavy topic. Krishnamurti is breaking down how toxic the world is. And you know that this is a through line for this show. How we talk about how, if you were raised in a toxic environment, and toxicity is on a spectrum, right? Most of us have an idea about toxicity, and we think, there was abuse, physical abuse, but sometimes we forget you could be raised by an emotionless, avoidant father, right? And that could, create, some difficulties, in your own emotional development, right? Or you could be raised by an overbearing, narcissistic mother, right? And that could add something to it too. So when we talk about toxicity doesn't always look like a grandiose narcissism would look. Even if you're talking about narcissism, there are different levels. Narcissism is on a spectrum. You have the covert narcissist, where the covert narcissist can manifest as a sweetheart, as somebody that is caring and loving, but then in reality, they're still a narcissist, right? So today's topic hit on this in such a way because in philosophy, there's this concept called the Hegelian dialectic, right? The Hegelian dialectic. And if we're born in a toxic society, and not only are we born in it, we are molded by it, right? This is why you hear phrases like, if you want to change the world, first change yourself. If you want to see change in the world, you must be the change, right? Because the world is a product of who we are, right? So in the Hegelian dialectic, this philosophical concept, right? It is an interpretive method in which the contradiction between a proposition, thesis, and its antithesis is resolved at a higher level of truth, synthesis. Now, that's a fancy way to say it. But really, just like the white knight syndrome, where the white knight will look for people that will be dependent upon him or her, right? So he could be using the Hegelian philosophy of thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Meaning, I need to find someone with a problem that matches my solution, so I can create a synthesis in their life. Well, what is the synthesis? They become dependent on you, or they become enamored with you, or you understand that is the outcome. Synthesis is the new reality. or the desired outcome, right? So think about if you have a Machiavellian partner, someone who will create a problem in your life and show up as the savior. They brought the thesis, they give you the antithesis so that they can get the synthesis that they want, the outcome that they want. The goal is to start the problem, become the solution, to develop an outcome in your favor. You're telling me people are not adroit at doing this in intimate relationships? Do they even know? Do they even know that they are employing the Hegelian dialectic? The inner Hegelian dialectic upholds, or I want you guys to hear this, and listen. If you've experienced something like this, I really want you to call in. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. You're listening to The Voice of Reason. Here we have very deep conversations about relationships. And I try to put them into different packages because I want people to think outside of their norm so they can see when something is coming at them. I think intimate relationships produce the majority of our blind spots. I think we miss a lot because, again, you've been conditioned a certain way. You've been conditioned to look at things a certain way. So when you start putting it in a different framework, it starts to stretch the old one that you're accustomed to using. The inner Hegelian dialectic unfolds as the ego's tool for control. Is the ego purposely creating problems to maintain dominance by offering solutions? The Latin phrase, ordo ab chaos, ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. Let me create the chaos. Right? It's like an inverted kind of sabotage. Let me create the chaos and then present the solution to you so you can think I'm your savior, so you can become an SLDD, a self-love deficient. Ooh, don't do that, Zoe. Don't do that. Ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. And many people are so blind to the type of people that are coming into their lives. They don't, just because you get what you want does not mean getting what you want isn't planting the seeds for chaos. Do you see? A lot of people will go with chaos if it feel good, if it don't disturb them too much. Do you understand? Because they can't, well, what kind of chaos is this? Yeah, what if it's a covert chaos? You don't even know you under their spell. But you are. Ladies and gentlemen, are you dating or married to a Machiavellian chaos creator? How does the ego manipulate situations to create problems that reinforce its sense of control and power? In what ways do our unconscious beliefs and fears contribute to the cycle of self-sabotage orchestrated by the ego? What strategies does the ego employ to perpetuate a sense of self-blame, shame, and guilt in order to maintain dominance? You hear us talk about it. We on it tonight when we come forward. I'm opening the phone lines. I want to talk to you all. Let's get it.
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy. Turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation. Connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
That because it's very frequent that I'll work with a client and they'll say something and I'll have a very easy next step that I can offer and go, what would happen if this? And what I notice is they feel this freedom. And when the freedom comes in, they jump on a new problem, right? It's like, I can't just let this freedom come out, right? Are you seeing what I'm saying? Like, I can't just enjoy this freedom. There's like a fear, if you grew up in a traumatic household, to feel joy. There's a fear to feel free. There's a fear to feel it's effortless, because that's death to everything you knew. If you had parents that said life is difficult, constantly were stressing, were abusive, yelling all the time in their pain, whatever, struggling, fighting for struggling, telling you how hard life is, saying the word struggle every other word, or just victim-y sentences, right? I want to offer you freedom to just say the sentence out loud, even if you have no evidence of it, even if you have no idea where that is. I want you to even make it easier than you need proof of it, right? That part of you that needs proof. Well, where's the evidence? It's easy. That's more work than you need. Are you getting that? Even that's more work than you need. I need to find evidence that it's easy. That's too much work.
But do you see? Do you see the problem in this? We are looking for a savior in many cases because of what Kyle just outlined. The way you were raised, who raised you, the problems that they have, the issues that they have. You carry those issues with you. So once you get frustrated, you start looking outward. Of course, you've been conditioned to do so. You start looking outward. Somebody's going to come along and right my ship. Somebody's going to come along and treat me correctly. But what you're actually setting yourself up for is the master manipulator, right? The Machiavellian partner, right? Who may use the Hegelian dialectic on you. They may say, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to give them an antithesis to their thesis. Your thesis might be, I'm not enough. Your thesis might be, I'm unworthy of love. Your thesis might be, I need acknowledgement. And then this Machiavellian partner comes in and goes, no. I'm going to give you everything that you say you need, right? They give you the antithesis. But you don't know they have what? An ulterior motive to create a synthesis, which ultimately serves them and not you. Can the cultivation of empathy and compassion towards oneself and others help individuals transcend the ego's divisive tactics and foster deeper connections and understanding? I would hope so. What role does self-acceptance and self-love play in dismantling the ego's destructive pattern of behavior and fostering personal growth and transformation? I'm sure it plays a huge role. But who's really ready to do the work? We've turned relationships into a vacation spot. It's really not that. We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Atala from Houston, Texas. Get in here.
Hello, what's up?
What up? Now, you created this topic.
Yes.
And people want to know.
What they want to know? What's the question?
Why did you create the topic? What was the impetus? What inspired you to create this type of topic?
I don't know. My brain just be doing stuff. No, but in all seriousness, in regards to the Hegelian dialectic, I was listening to Kyle Cease, who you just played a minute ago, and so he was talking about the problems that we kind of like keep on trying to solve in terms of our ego. And when you finish solving one problem, you try and jump onto the other. And so I thought to myself, I was like, well, that's not different than how we do in relationships. Like what we do to ourselves is what is being done to us. So we can talk about narcissism and the ways in which they cause problems and then also try and be the solution. But I do think it's important to acknowledge that whatever's been done to you, chances are you've done that to yourself in some shape, form, or fashion as well.
So
yeah.
No,
so
keep going. I'm listening.
I mean, it's quite interesting. So, when we're talking about, again, like I said, causing a problem and then creating the solution, I mean, if you want to look within, that's nothing more than self-sabotage, right? Mm-hmm. I think that in order for our ego to feel some level of importance, worth, or power, there has to be a problem. And so if there's not a narcissist in your life doing it, then you're probably doing it to yourself in some form, shape, or fashion.
But
one of the questions, sorry?
I'm sorry. I have a question now because I'm thinking like, But don't we create our own problems? And haven't we been conditioned to make the person in our life the ultimate problem?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, how does that play into this Hegelian dialectic?
I think a big part of it when we're talking about Hegelian dialectic is that someone has to have a certain level of cognitive dissonance. I think I posed that in one of the questions, meaning, for example, if you know you're supposed to be on a diet, but you continue to eat junk food, is that not, antithesis, thesis, synthesis, right? Like, the whole goal is so that your ego remains intact, in control, alive.
But that's
right.
But Attila, that's everybody. That fits right into, I want a new relationship so I can avoid doing the work I'm supposed to do in the current relationship, but then the new relationship produces those same opportunities for you to work on it. But you think leaving is a better alternative than staying and working on what the relationship presented to you. Stay right there. Don't leave. When we come forward, I'm going back to Attila from Houston, Texas. Let's get it.
He's on fire tonight. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A third ex-officer who tortured 2 black men in Mississippi has been sentenced. Daniel Opdyke will spend more than 17 years behind bars after pleading guilty. The group of 6 white Mississippi officers illegally entered the men's home and then attacked and tried to sexually assault them for nearly 2 hours while subjecting them to racial hatred. Officials also say they shot one of the men in the mouth and left him while planting a gun and plotting a cover story. According to federal prosecutors, some of the officers called themselves the Goon Squad because of their use of excessive force without reporting. The state of Georgia is scheduled to put a black man to death tonight for the 1994 rape and murder of his ex-girlfriend. The execution of Willie James Pye will mark the first in Georgia since before the COVID pandemic hit. Georgia's Board of Pardons and Paroles denied his clemency in a hearing this week. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey Californians, are you ready to make your home ownership dreams come true? The California Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program might be for you. First-generation homebuyers can get down payment and closing cost assistance along with a first mortgage to help you unlock the door of your new home. Applications open in April, so talk to an approved lender to see if you're eligible. Find out more at calhfa.ca.gov/dream or call 877-922-5432. A message from the California Housing Finance Agency.
Are you tired of being stuck without internet access? Connect and go with LA County Library. It's simple. Visit your local LA County Library location and borrow a hotspot for free to get Wi-Fi wherever you are.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that for Bree's car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Bree's car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy for Breeze. La 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 la.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Just had a fight with my woman over something trivial told. We rarely have confrontation, and if the I said really was bold, I think she get it from my mama. Her bitterness passed down from old. When I'm calling out a drama, she too defensive to listen, I'll call so. Look at me, I got problems. You got the type of advice that I need. I couldn't get through on the mention series. Dana was hogging up the time that I need. Between working or being so clingy, plus the time zone difference don't make it more easy. Oh, so I figured I'd call in early, turn my life down, mercy, I got through. You tuned in, yeah. So just lay back your mind, something new. Everybody tuning in to soul, cause he is.
In order for people to live a full life, they have to have a foot in order. And that order has to be commensurate with what it is that they're attempting. So their lives are properly ordered if they have goals and the the procedures they put in place to attain those goals are working. That gives them security and hope. They also have to have a foot in chaos, because part of proper being is not merely security, which is what order provides, but also the continual generative excitement that being on the edge allows. And the edge, which everyone knows about, is the edge between order and chaos. And you can tell you're there because that's when life is worth living. Surfing was sacred to the Hawaiians, because the Hawaiians could see that when a surfer mastered a wave, he was physically embodying the balance between order and chaos. The rule is you have to confront chaos and make it back into order. And you must do that, because otherwise your life becomes unbearable.
Hey, Professor Jordan Peterson, man, he be cooking. A lot of people don't like him, but when he puts it like that, right? And I will take it even a step further. You need to be comfortable with your own chaos. See, you don't realize that you're magnetizing a certain type of mess into your life when you try to project as together. When you try to project as, I'm all good, everything's okay. You're going to get somebody that comes into your life that's going to turn it upside down. But please understand, there is a reason and a purpose for why your life is being turned upside down. To me, that represents creation. That represents elevation. It's just like going into the backwoods and burning down some of the brush, right? In order to, first off, clear it out, but secondarily, nature uses the carbon from the fire. And now we have some nutrients in the soil because we were burned by the fire. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you have to create order out of your own chaos. Because I'm going to tell you right now, chaos is fine. Chaos is cute. Chaos is fun. It's on the edge, as Jordan Peterson just so eloquently explained. Let me get Attila back in here. Attila from Houston, Texas. Come on, finish your thought.
Yes. So I wanted to pick back up on what you were talking about with relationships, right? And how we leave one thinking that it's going to be better than the other, whatever. So I'll pose a thought on that one, especially in regards to dealing with narcissists and opportunists and things of that nature, right? When we're talking about self-created problems, right, and particularly the ego's role in them, right, would you say that it's important to learn the source of said problem, or at least the source of maybe why the problem even came about before even proceeding with the previous relationship, right? Because if you're continuing, you're just kind of like on this merry-go-round, like you're kind of continuing the same problem over and over again, right? Regardless to whether or not a narcissist comes in and gives you a solution or whatever the case may be. Because my theory on this is that, again, like I think we are doing this to ourselves through our ego. We are creating the problem, giving ourselves a thesis and an antithesis, and then coming up with a synthesis, meaning that the whole point is that the ego stays in control. So to me, wouldn't that be the thing that you need to like focus on and fix before making a decision? I don't know.
Are you basically saying you need to fix yourself? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, like, in short, like, I think we just need to know our motivations. That's what I'm getting at. Like, know your motivations. Because, again, like, if there's always going to be a problem to fix, that's how your ego survives, because it has to be the hero of your story.
The ego has to be the hero of your story.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, to me, like, it has nothing to do, like, with the other person, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I do think that this can definitely be a tactic, obviously, that, someone can use where they become your white knight, so to speak. And that's a trap, whether they're a narcissist or not. But like I said, I think you need to, that's why I called it the Hegelian dialectic within. It's you that's creating your problem, that is, trying to make solutions forward so that you basically go nowhere. The result is stagnation.
But listen, if I can get into a relationship with somebody, I'm going somewhere. For the most part, that's how people are. If I'm attractive and I can get into something, I can be distracted. And it's not, we don't really see that as, I'm doing this to myself. We see that as I'm escaping responsibility for having to deal with something that I should be paying attention to. Most people have an easier time distracting themselves, moving away from the problem than confronting it. Because everybody know, in my opinion, or I would say in my circle of friends, we all know that we're the problem. But many people don't know that. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, like, a lot of us are unaware, and I think it's a lot easier to point the finger. Like, a good example, like, if you want to think about an example of what this would be, let's say your issue is your weight, right? So thesis, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do this, right? And so the antithesis comes along, and perhaps that's the self-doubt, the deflection, the utilizing your traumas to basically say the reason as to why you can't get anywhere. And the ultimate goal is to stop you. It's the stagnation. It's, again, the ego wants to remain in control. The ego is the same thing that's going to have you snacking at night. I mean, let's keep it above.
But wait a minute. Society has taught us to go after what we want. Society has told us to our heart's content, we should go after what we want, and we should get as much of it as we want.
But society is built on the Hegelian dialectic. I mean, let's talk about that.
Talk to me.
To say that you should go after what you want, but then turn around and tell certain groups of people that they can't, is that not the Hegelian? I mean, like, to tell certain people that you can do whatever you want, you can blah, 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 as long as you have the money, but then you tell another certain group of people that they can't. To me, the whole reason of doing that is to maintain a status quo, synthesis. Like, our entire society, in my opinion, is set up that way. That's why we have two different political parties that are the most prominent, right? Republicans and Democrats. It's the same. They're feeding you the same line of BS.
So wait a minute. Are you saying this same modality and methodology happens in intimate relationships?
Mm-hmm.
Men are Republican. Women are Democrat. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I'm not putting anybody on either party. I'm just saying that we have a very, like, kind of tunnel vision way of looking at things, not understanding that because of the way that we are engineered or designed to look at things, it creates things like a gender war that really doesn't exist when you actually sit down and have real conversations.
Right.
Right? Like, the whole content of Red Pill, the whole content of Sprinkle, all of that is meant to give you thesis, antithesis, and the synthesis is that nobody's getting along. No one is procreating. No one is having harmonious relationships.
So,
and you have to ask yourself,
but some people would argue that. Some people would be like, no, we good over here. Over here, we good.
Well, you ate the synthesis pie. Like, you did exactly what they wanted you to do, like, in my opinion.
Stay right there. Don't leave. Attila, when we come forward, the voice of reason shall continue this amazing dialogue.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
Hey, Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer's suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8-count packs.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Gentlemen, the VOR and his playlist is just up in here. Andy, this is Breeze, right? Woo. Track is called Breeze. What is the group? Vanilla? The group is called Vanilla. That's called Breeze. Yeah, that's special. Anyway, we're having a pretty in-depth conversation right now. I just believe society has made everybody Machiavellian to some degree. And I have the sister on the line who actually created this topic. Her name is Attila Phillips. She's from Houston, Texas. She is a regular contributor to the Voice of Reason, in the chat room, as well as, she's been sending a whole bunch of topics, amazing topics that, like this one, that, has piqued my interest. I can be a bit cynical because I believe society, the way it is set up, how it, like you said, you gave us an example that the Hegelian dialectic is used in the way our government is set up and how we govern and how we do business. And I just see that our relationships are not in a vacuum, that we're going to bring this type of behavior and activity to relationships. So are we employing this tactic on each other? Are we like creating problems and for our partners so we can look like we're somebody special? Or are we doing this to each other? Or is one person doing it more than the other to take advantage and control over the whole situation? What are your thoughts?
Okay, that's a good question. In terms of, I believe first and foremost we're doing it to ourselves, and so we are absolutely doing it to one another. In terms of who's doing it more than the other, I feel like that mostly, like, I would say the level to which this tactic is used would probably directly correlate with the trauma and the type of attachment style that person has. So I think it would be more so a case by case basis. You know, a good example would be someone who maybe is using their vulnerabilities as a weapon.
Ooh.
Right? You know what I'm saying? You could argue that person is probably supremely used to this philosophy, if you will, and they don't even know it. Right? For whatever reason, the things, the wounds in them.
This is getting deep now. This is getting deep.
Mm-hmm.
So their vulnerabilities, you might, some would probably call those weaknesses or challenges or whatever, but you're telling me they're leveraging those challenges, turning them into strengths, so that they can gain control over this is happening though, right? Talk to me, please.
Well,
expand.
Because again, it makes sense in my mind. Sometimes it's hard to like explain because this is somewhat of it's a nuanced topic, but I'll just say that if someone is adroit at using this topic on their partner, imagine how many times they've used it on themselves. So what I mean by that is, again, you know, the weaponization of vulnerability, right? That is the same thing that the ego could do to someone else, right? Weaponizing shame, weaponizing guilt. And so it's no surprise that they would turn around and use that on people closest to them because the ego is no respecter of persons.
The
Just
ego
like Christ,
is no respecter of persons.
I don't care. Like, yeah, that's your mama, but I'm in charge. That's cute. I mean, I get that's your sister, but I'm in charge.
But
right
what if somebody would hit us with the idea and say this is a doom and gloom kind of look at relationships? Or would you take the Krishnamurti angle when he says it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society? Which
yeah, I strongly agree with that. Krishnamurti was on the money, okay? On the money. Doom and gloom, I mean, like,
no, because some people will be like, you're missing the successful relationships, the happy relationships, the relationships that have, you know, some semblance of balance, some semblance of peace. Some people might be like, yo, we good over here.
That's nice. We're not talking about you. I mean, my my response to that would be, in all of the goodness that you've been able to cultivate in your relationships, have you lost your empathy to recognize when it's absent in someone else's? Does the presence of your good relationship somehow cancel out the experiences of other people?
Well, you know how we are. We over here minding ours.
Yeah. I think when it comes to topics like this, the reason why it makes people uncomfortable is because you would have to talk about cognitive dissonance that they have within themselves.
Stop right there.
How are you a doctor and you smoke?
Wait, stop right there. Stop right there, because this is big. How are you a doctor and you smoke? This is big. Stop right there. At the core of the ego's strategy lies manipulation. A subtle orchestration of situations and circumstances designed to reinforce its sense of control and power. By creating problems and presenting solutions, the ego perpetuates a cycle of self-sabotage that keeps us entangled in a web of self-blame, shame, and guilt. Unraveling the ego's intricate web requires a deep dive into the realms of self-awareness and introspection, where the Hegelian dialectic unfolds within our psyche, revealing the underlying contradictions and tensions that drive our actions. Cognitive dissonance emerges as a potent force in the ego's quest for power and control, fueling a relentless pursuit of validation and this sounds like validation and recognition. This sounds like what? Narcissism? The ego's reliance on defense mechanisms such as projection and denial further complicates the inner landscape, hindering our ability to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves. Through therapy, self-reflection, and mindfulness practices, individuals might be able to recognize and dismantle some of the ego's influence in perpetuating self-destructive patterns, which could pave the way for personal growth and transformation. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's reminding me of Dr. Ramani when she says, narcissism is a scale. She's since changed and said that she believes narcissism is like a personality type, so to speak, or trait. At first I was like, I don't know about it, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense when you really think about it, because we all have that within us, the ability to do that, which is why I think topics like this, when you're focusing on the feelings that you have about what's being said versus the facts and the information that's coming up within you, I think you missed the mark, right? And so that's what I would say to someone who's like, oh, it's doom and gloom. I would say, well, that's an emotion that's being produced within you, and it's not something that an outside party would take responsibility for, right? That's your interpretation of said information. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Stay right there. Don't go nowhere. We got Sean on the line. We got others on the line. Everybody's coming in. Hey, hold tight. This is getting heated when we come forward. More from the VOR.